Hey guys, so we're going to start a new chapter today, and we're going to be talking about polynomials moving forward. Now, the way I want these videos to work is that I want you guys to be able to pause, rewind, replay anything that you didn't catch the first time. So feel free to do that at any point. Go at your own pace. But the first thing I want you guys to do is take out a sheet of paper if you have not already and make sure that you write down everything that I tell you to write down. At the top of your paper, I want you to title it with adding and subtracting polynomials. And what we're going to be doing today is classifying polynomials according to their degree and term numbers and then adding and subtracting them. It's very similar to combining like terms. So I think you guys are going to find this very simple. But the first thing we're going to start with is vocabulary. And the first vocabulary word is monomial. And a monomial is an expression that is a number, a variable, or a product of a number and one or more variables. So, some examples of monomial, just the number 12. That's an example of a monomial. It's a number. Another example of a monomial is y. And again, just a variable. Could also be a product of a number. So let's say negative x squared y. Why is this a monomial? Well, this is a monomial because if I knew the value of x and y, I could plug it in, multiply all those numbers together, and ultimately end up with one term at the end. Another example of a monomial might be, let's say I had the variable c and I wanted to divide it by 3. Again, because c is in place of a number, when you divide it by 3, you ultimately end up with one term. So c over 3 would be a monomial. Another example of one that is not a monomial would be c over x. Why? I don't know the value of either one of variables in the denominator. This is not a monomial. All right? Let's keep going. Again, pause at any point. All right, the next thing I want you guys to write down is degree of a monomial. And a degree of a monomial is a sum of the exponents of its variables. For a non-zero constant, the degree is 0, and the number 0 has no degree. So what I mean by degree is I mean exponent. So 2/3 x has an exponent of 1. So that means that this is a first degree monomial. First degree. Okay? 7x squared y to the third. We're going to add these exponents together to get 5. So this is a fifth degree monomial. All right. Negative 4 has a degree of 0. Why? Because a non-zero constant, the degree is 0. Let's keep going. All right. Now our next word is polynomial. And a polynomial is a monomial or the sum or difference of two or more monomials. The degree of the polynomial is determined by the largest exponent. So in this case, let's look at our different degrees. 3x to the fourth by itself is a fourth degree monomial. 5x squared is a second degree monomial. Negative 7x is a first degree monomial. And then 1, which is a non-zero constant, has a degree of 0. Together, these terms, and each one of these is an individual term. So 3x to the fourth is a term, 5x to the second power is a term, and negative 7x is a term, and then 1 is also a term. And again, that's just another way of saying a variable, a number. Any type of mathematical expression is referred to also as a term. Together, all of these make what's called a polynomial. So we classify this according to its highest degree. So in this case, the 4 is the highest exponent. So this polynomial is a 4th degree polynomial. Let's keep going. Polynomials are always expressed in what's called standard form, which means the degree of its monomials decrease from left to right. So if we look at the expression, the same polynomial above, you notice how the exponents decrease? That means that this polynomial is in proper standard form. And that's the next thing that we're going to talk about. I'm going to have a bunch of different ones that we're going to place in order, and then we're going to classify it. All right, so I have 6x squared plus 7 minus 9x to the 4th. So the first thing I'm going to do before I classify this is I'm going to put this in proper standard form. And this is similar to just rearranging terms. So the sign in front has to come with. So first thing I'm going to do is identify the largest term, or the term with the highest degree, and I'm going to rewrite that in front. Negative 9x to the 4th, and then I'm going to bring the 6x squared, and then the 7 is last, and then we'll just tack that on at the end. Now let's classify this. The highest exponent is a 4, so this is a 4th degree trinomial. And what does trinomial mean? Well, tri should make you think of triangle, which just means it's a polynomial with 3 terms. All right? So far, no math involved, right? All we've done is rearrange some numbers and classify. Let's do another one. All right, 3y minus 4 minus y cubed. So first thing I'm going to do is write this in standard form. This is the highest degree, so we'll bring that to the front. And lastly, minus 4. Now, next I'm going to classify this. Well, I see that there are 3 terms, so this must be another trinomial. And since it has a cube as the highest power, we could refer to this as a cubic trinomial. All right. Let's keep going. Go ahead and pause the video here and go ahead and reorder and combine everything as much as you can, and then see if you can classify it yourself. Okay. First thing I'm going to do is reorder this. So negative 11v plus 7v plus 8. And remember, the 8 has a degree of 0. So the negative 11v and 7v, which have a degree of 1, go in front. Now, these are like terms. I'm going to go ahead and combine these. So this becomes negative 4v plus 8. How many terms are there? Well, there are 2. And since this should look like a similar expression to you, so this is what's called a linear binomial. Why is it linear? Well, it's got a slope of negative 4, right? If we had a y equals added to it, we could easily graph it. So this is called a linear binomial. I'm going to do a couple more of these with you, so bear with me for a second while I erase this. And make sure that everything I write, you're writing. You want to be able to refer to these notes again. All right. Let's draw another one. And let's say that I have 9x to the 4th plus 11. Well, this is clearly already in standard form because the powers decrease from left to right. So I have a 4th degree for the 9x to the 4th, and then I have a 1st degree monomial for 11. So let's go ahead and classify this. How many terms are there? Well, there's 2, so this is what's called a 4th degree binomial. Fourth degree binomial. 2 terms, highest degree of 4. Let's do another one. All right, let's say I have 3x squared plus 2x plus 1. This is also already in standard form. So now I just have to classify it. I notice that there's a square, and since there's a square, that should make you think, oh, this expression could be a parabola shape, which means that it's a quadratic. There are 3 terms, so this is what's called a quadratic trinomial. All right. And then one more. How would you classify the number 5? Well, we know it has a degree of 0 because it's a non-zero constant. So the name with the degree would just be constant. And we know it's a monomial, so it's a constant monomial. Let's keep going. All right, guys, the last piece that we're going to do is we're going to add and subtract polynomials. This is exactly the same as adding and subtracting like terms. So I'm going to identify my like terms and I'm going to combine them. 4x squared and 2x squared together become 6x squared. 6x minus 9x becomes negative 3x. And lastly, 7 plus 1 obviously gives me 8. Now the last thing we're going to do is check to make sure that this is in standard form, meaning the exponents decrease going left to right. Okay, it is. And the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to classify this. I notice that there are 3 terms, so this is definitely going to be what's called a trinomial. Okay, it's also a polynomial as well. A trinomial is just a more specific way to say it. And then I also notice that there's a square, so this is a quadratic polynomial. Or quadratic, could also call it a quadratic trinomial or polynomial, but trinomial is the most specific. I don't feel like you guys need another example with that. That is just combining like terms and then classifying it. So classifying is the new part. All right. Same thing here. We're going to look at our like terms. We're going to combine them, and then we'll classify the polynomial at the end. So I have 2x cubed minus x cubed. So that's just going to give me x cubed. Whoops. And then I have 5x squared plus, because remember, double negative, 8x squared. So that's going to give me 13x squared. And lastly, negative 3x plus 11. Cannot combine those, so I'm going to tack on negative 3x and then subtract the 11. And again, all I did there was combine like terms, stuff that you guys have been doing since the beginning of the year. Whew. All right, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to classify this. Now there are 4 terms here, which means this can't be a monomial, which is 1 term, can't be a binomial, which is 2 terms, and can't be a trinomial, which is 3 terms. So this is truly, we can only classify it as a polynomial. And the highest degree is 3, which means that this is a cubic polynomial. All right? Feel free to rewatch this video at any point. It's also posted on my website with today's homework. So you guys can move on to the next thing.